Hey guys,
Hello, everyone.
welcome back to ForWhy.
I'm Julie.
I'm Shania. Did you
And
like the song?
today,
Today we're gonna be talking about what our favorite mentally ill icons. That was the
sounds a
best
bit
way
weird,
to phrase
but
it. Yeah.
like we said it last episode, it seems like creative people always have to be damaged somehow in order to be
Yeah.
creative.
And we are not romanticizing this idea. We do not support this. Honestly, we support getting help for mental health, and it is not necessarily saying that you have to be unwell to be an icon. It's just there's a correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah, a strong correlation. Do you want to go first, Julie? Who are you talking about?
Actually, I decided to talk about Van Gogh because he's always been
Mhm.
my favorite painter.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and we all know that he's had some issues mentally because, well, everyone knows he cut his ear off, for example, and I don't think that's a normal, a
A thing
mentally
to do.
well thing to do.
Do we
Um,
know why he cut his ear off? Like, was it for an artistic
I think it,
piece?
no, I think he just was a coping mechanism, like how people cut themselves. I think it was a bit of that vibe going on.
Oh, so it wasn't actually for like a display of some kind or like a meme to
No, no.
produce.
I think it was a
Okay.
moment of because he struggled a lot with himself because he never got recognition for his work.
Mm.
And yeah, so he thought he was a failure, and I think it came out of that.
Is he famous for cutting off his ear, or just is that the most outstanding thing, like fact that people just know?
No, I think people are like, oh, there was this artist that cut his ear, and then some people like are like, oh, was that like I think people know that there was this painter that cut his ear, and I think people know that there's Van Gogh, and then other people know that that was the same person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
But Van Gogh, I think, is most known for Starry Night. No, the painting with the city sky, well, the village skyline and
Mhm.
stars. Um, and the Starry Night. Yeah, what am I?
You
The
got there
title
in the
says the
end.
painting. But
Yeah.
yeah, actually, I think maybe some British people, like some, have seen the Doctor Who episode. I'm not sure if you're one of them.
No, I'm not.
Um,
I only watched Doctor
highly
Who before.
recommend watching that Doctor Who episode with Van Gogh. It was very like I don't know, because yeah, they visit him, and obviously he didn't get recognition in his lifetime, and he killed himself. But then in the Doctor Who episode, spoiler, they take him back because they see him, and usually they don't change anything about the past, but
Yeah.
actually then they decide to take him back to our world, and they show him the Van Gogh Museum,
Hmm.
and how people love his paintings, and obviously he's like, whoa, what the fuck. And it's kind of like, it's not the real Van Gogh, like it's an actor, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's like, if you think about how, what would this person that like hated themselves because they thought they were a failure think like now when they see that, I would say he's one of the most famous painters in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just crazy to think about.
What would
And
you do if someone did that to you? If they say you now was brought to the future and there's like a whole museum of you, how do you think you would feel?
it's just crazy now if you think your whole life that you can't achieve anything because everyone's like,
You're
he
rubbish.
didn't he didn't make money with his paint, like he didn't really make money with his paintings, like he lived very poor
Mm,
because no one would buy his painting because he did this kind of art style with the strokes. Like, I don't know if you have an image in front of you what his paintings look like
I can put it up.
yeah, so it's like it's a very different from what they, well, this art style only came up during that time. But I think what was actually trending, I'm not sure, I'm not an art historian, okay, was not this kind of style. So people didn't see the artistic ability in it. So he didn't get to sell a lot of his paintings, for people thought they were ugly. Obviously, now in retrospect, we see them as masterpieces. So
I
it's very
mean,
interesting.
his art style is very unique.
Yeah, he has a very, because during that time also a lot of people painted with a lot of dots, but
Yeah,
he
the
did this kind of
pointillism.
strokes. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's very interesting.
Look at my GCSE art coming through.
Whoop,
Wow.
whoop.
His
So
it
no,
is
Van
so
Gogh always
interesting.
been my favorite because I think it's so crazy, the idea of him living his life, thinking he's a failure, thinking he's not that good of a painter. Even, well, it ends very tragic because he was suicidal, so he killed himself in the end, which is also, if you watch the movie Vincent, also
Mhm.
recommend. It's a movie animated in the style of his painting. Um,
Oh wow, that's so cool.
yeah, and there, well, it's like his brother. He was really close to his brother, probably the only person he was really close with. They were exchanging letters, and after his suicide, the brother goes and like um sees if it was like what happened before his suicide. Like he just wants to shine some light into the whole thing. And there's some theories that it actually wasn't a suicide. It's all a bit like, you can look it up yourself, but I don't want to, people usually say it's a suicide because he was this, like, he did have a hard life and he did go and check himself into, he knew he had problems and he was in an asylum
Yeah.
for a while and it seemed to get better. And yeah, so people just figured it was probably a suicide because the gun was still there. Yeah.
Also, it's by a gun.
Oh, we should have probably said a trigger warning.
Oh yeah.
I'll put one before the
Trigger
title.
one in. Too late, but yeah.
But yeah, so
That's
it's a bit of a
insane.
mystery, but people usually say it was suicide because he did show signs of depression and suicidal, and he
Where was he
put
shot?
himself, hmm?
Where was he shot?
Like in his body or in which location?
In like no, in his body. Where?
So I think it was the stomach or something like that, or like the chest,
Ah,
where usually when people kill themselves, it's usually the head.
the head. Yeah.
So that's why there's some like theory that actually it was in a field where it happened, and he used to draw in fields. Like all his paintings are like
Mm.
landscapes, often. Actually, well, I'll talk about it later, but we went to the psychic asylum that he stayed in
What?
the south of France. Yeah, and we saw like fields that he drew, or like other landscapes that he painted and stuff. When I was on my trip like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it was in this field, and often boys were playing there. And there's this theory that actually a boy, like they were playing with a gun and they accidentally shot him, and he just told, like, because he got shot in the like not in the head. And also this was in the 19th century. It's not like late 19th century. It's not like the police could, there was not fingerprints and that kind of stuff. So people say he
Mm.
probably just told the boy, it's okay, so it was a child, so the child wouldn't get,
Yeah.
the blame. That's another theory, but yeah, it could also just be suicide. It's just because he wasn't shot in the head that people are like, maybe,
Maybe it's not. Yeah, that's why I was
yeah,
asking because it was like, if it wasn't in the head, then it could be like someone could be like, oh my God,
yeah,
what an icon, and nobody's. I just want to steal your paintings. Do you know what I mean? So I'm gonna shoot you now. I don't know. I'm just making up, but there could be many other reasons. But like him cutting off his ear doesn't make me not believe that he wouldn't shoot himself in the stomach, like in an obscure way.
yeah.
No, like that's one of hell of a way to self harm.
So yeah, during this like time in south of France, and in this mental asylum, no, psychic asylum, I don't know how actually, what's the political correct word?
I
Mental
don't know.
health hospital, I'm not sure.
I mean, that's a
Um,
great way to say it. I mean,
yeah,
sure.
yeah, that's when his brother also visited him, and they at the end he went back to Paris, where well, the countryside of Paris. So he was like a lot in
Mm.
France. So it was really nice to actually be. Did I say south of Italy before? No, I said south of France, right?
So
Yeah, I
it's
said
so
south of
fun.
France. Yeah.
Yeah.
So south of France, it's actually where he was a lot until he went to the countryside of Paris. But often, like, yeah, he liked, I think, the countryside and nature, maybe the quiet, maybe it has something to do with his like problems that he was rather like, I think he preferred solitude, and maybe on the countryside you have a bit more of that than actually in city center Paris. Who knows?
Away from the people, and I guess like it's away from criticism as well. If his whole life is like, I'm a failure and nobody wants to buy my paintings, why would he want to be around those people who keep calling him that, you know,
Yeah.
or suggestive of that? So I get that.
Yeah, it actually was nice to see the place that he actually stayed in. It was a bit weird to be like, whoa.
Yeah,
Like, we
that's
even saw the
actually really
room.
trippy.
Yeah. I don't know. I get always a bit sad when I think about him because you wish, like in that Doctor Who episode, you wish
That was
someone
possible.
like him could see that he has the success now that he has. But the man was, here we get to the point, the man was mentally ill. So how much of the success would have changed? Like, would he have still committed suicide? Like, would him seeing that he would have success fixed his mental health issues? Probably not, because we see these people nowadays, like celebrities, like they know their success and they still have problems. It's not like the one thing solves the other.
True. But like, if his whole thing was, I want to at least get recognition, then maybe he wouldn't have killed himself. Maybe he's still been depressed, but
Yeah.
killed himself.
Yeah. But like, do you think, because even then, I think it's a good segue to your artist that
To
you're going to
my
talk about.
person.
Because like, even then, if he sees the success, maybe it can make things worse. It doesn't always make it better, but
like thinking back to the time he lived in, right?
yeah.
They didn't have the same societal pressures blah, as they do like celebrities now. So I don't know if he would have been like mentally ill from like the pressures of being famous, because back then being famous was like fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't like famous, it was just like getting recognition.
Yeah, like to them that's just money. Yeah, like it's not going to be like he's going to have fangirls screaming outside of his window. Maybe we had whores, I don't know, but he wouldn't have necessarily.
I don't know if that would have, like, I think in the Doctor Who episode he still like kills himself in the end, so it's probably like saying like, okay, he got the recognition but he still has the same problems. You can't just fix it by
just because of if it's not one thing, it's another thing. But was that the sole reason he was depressed? Do you know much about his past? I just want to know more about him. Sorry.
I think he was just, I think his, like it says, they think nowadays that he had probably manic depression. So it's just a chronic like illness. I don't think it. Yeah, the depression part. It always like it comes a lot of times with creative people. It's very strange. I think it's just something that was with him his whole life, probably.
I don't know. I feel like because creative people, we have like, I say we, gang. I feel like it's just a lot of sensibility you feel more than other people. Like a lot of creatives are emotional. They have like, they possess.
There's probably studies that are like, that look at the brains of creative people compared to brains of non-creative people. I'm sure there must be something different at work.
But I don't know if there's like a direct correlation to those people who have like killed themselves or been inflicted by something that made them die. So like so my celebrity or icon is Amy Winehouse, just because I was listening to her music recently. I always listen to her music, but you know when you just like hear it again and you're just like deep in everything, the lyricism and how like phenomenal this person is as a musician, and you're like, why did they die? Like, why did you have to die when you're such it's so beautiful. Like most that's a lie. That would be telling a lie. I think most musicians I listen to who are, I think lyricism is fantastic and phenomenal and the music is great, only produce like 2 albums and then they either disappear or die. And also watching Reclaiming Amy, which is so I don't know how to feel about it, because it just feels like it doesn't feel like damage control, but also feels a little bit forced, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's a not a documentary, but it's just a retelling of her death by her mum and dad and her close friends. So Amy Winehouse died in 2011, so 10 years ago, and I think that's why they produced this documentary, because it's been 10 years, like the 10-year anniversary of her death. And she died from alcohol poisoning, but she's battled with different things. So she's had bulimia, and she also did other forms of drugs as well. And
Yeah.
so this documentary was basically them starting off and saying
Oh my
that
God.
the documentary beforehand, Amy,
think it's
in
me.
2015. You okay?
Yeah, I think I just cut off, but I think you were still talking. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll listen back and see what happens.
Yeah.
So the documentary in 2015, Amy, was produced by these two guys who doesn't actually know her or like have any affiliations with her, which can be a good thing, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily knowing the person. It's not personal. It's not. There's no
Did you watch
personality
that
to
one
it.
as well?
I think I watched it ages ago, but I can't remember much about it.
Yeah.
But I was meant to watch it again, but I didn't have time. But
So this one, does it just explain her life, like the Reclaiming Amy? Is it like explaining her?
it's literally feels like her family and her friends defending themselves. Does that make
Why
sense?
they're not at fault for her?
Yeah, because that's what I was going to go into. So the Amy in 2015 basically blames her family and friends and said like they wasn't there for her when in her time of need, and like she could have avoided death if they did more. But this one's basically saying, hey, we did do stuff and this is what we did. It just didn't necessarily feel like I was learning much more about her, apart from this one fact with this her friend said that she was bisexual and that they had sex, and I felt uncomfortable with that because she never was in the public expressing her
So yeah,
sexuality.
she just came out for her, even though,
Yeah,
So now,
and like I know she's dead now, but like still, like why? I don't feel like there was a need to even express that, because wasn't even like delved into. It wasn't like the start of her depression. I think it was like aided into her feeling a way about herself, but not necessarily like the start of her depression. So I just thought it was unnecessary, really. It just felt like
it seems like making headlines.
yeah. Especially that she lived in like Camden and like the LGBT community love her, and it's like I don't like what was the point, like what was the point type of thing. Just feels like just saying it just because. But yeah, she said that she basically had like some identity struggles, and she would have known that more people loved her than a man, basically. But again, she chose who she wanted to be with as a partner, and that's the route she went down, and it is what it is. So that was that one.
Yeah.
And then her mum suffers from, I can't say this thingy, and it's really annoying. Multiple something. It begins with the S.
Like a mental or physical disability.
Physical sclerosis.
Oh, sclerosis. Yeah.
Did I say that correctly?
No, but I know what you mean. I'm sure everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So she basically was like, oh, if I don't do this now, then I'll never do this again, because she's like wearing and tearing away. And she had this illness whilst Amy was alive. And so like she could only do what she could possibly do. And then her dad was mostly painted as a bad guy, but like he was like, no, I never forced Amy to do anything. She wanted to perform. If she wanted to go out there, she did it. She performed. She like no one could stop her, even if she looked so exhausted or weak. Nobody stopped her. She wanted to do what she wanted to do. And like before, his image was like, oh, he forced her to perform. He kept her going. Da 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 da. He was like, no, I love my daughter. Blah, blah, blah. But he also loved the limelight. So I'm like, I don't know. Because
I think
yeah,
celebrities and overbearing parents are also, or creative people and parents that want to use their creativity to fund themselves is a big problem.
yeah,
Because you see it with Amy Winehouse, of course, the ending is really tragic.
yeah.
But you also see it with Britney Spears now, which hopefully we can provide a better ending to her
Didn't
story.
he relieve the conservatorship
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I
recently?
know these
Anyway,
people are all, the problem is, like, okay, depression is a thing. Like, no one really can, like, people are like, oh, I couldn't do anything, which is true because the mental health, it needs, like, you need to go into professional help.
yeah.
But, like, to talk about and be like, oh, this is why I'm not at fault is also a bit like, okay, but is that really the important thing to, like, advertise right now?
Yeah, I like to speak about, like,
Yeah.
especially he piggybacked off of her career. Like, he used her to remain in the limelight for himself because he wanted to be a singer and he wasn't successful in that.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as she's there, I'm gonna be paid attention to by her fans, and then all these greats are gonna give me recognition too.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily need to hear you, as much as you might not have aided in pushing her into alcoholism. You still didn't recognize that your child, like, as much as he said he did, and like they got her to go to rehab, they said they had multiple interventions. You're still not focusing on telling that side rather than just speaking about yourself. A lot of it
Yeah.
is me. Yet the headline was reclaiming Amy. There's
Yeah.
nothing that really was reclaimed other than their
Yeah.
own
Her story is just really,
images.
really sad. It's
It's
just
super
sad.
sad. Do you know what I realized? What I was sitting about today, and I was like, "Oh my god, the love, right, is the most powerful thing to drive you insane." I
Yeah.
know it wasn't just the man in her life that caused her to kill herself. It was also the media. It was also the press,
Yeah.
as much as it is most other people. But like, love itself is so crazy
Yeah.
because, like, Whitney Houston, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. Like, she got into drugs because of fucking Bobby Brown, right?
Mhm.
Like, being in that romantic relationship when you're so invested and so in love with someone, and they can hurt you
Mhm.
in many ways, and that's just even influencing drugs alone, other than other things as well, other factors. It's like Amy, like, just being so influenced in a abusive relationship is so mad, and a lot of female artists suffers from that, like, are
Yeah.
infected by that, and it's so crazy. It's like, wow, love is
Yeah.
one hell of a killer.
Even when you see, like, clips from Amy Winehouse, like a concert, then she used to be like so, I don't know, drunk, high, something, like
Mm,
not sober. And people used to, like, I remember as a child, people used to, like, kind of not make fun of it, but like also be like, oh, look at her, like, they weren't concerned. They were just a bit like,
no,
oh, look at this like, not washed up celebrity because she was still famous, but like, kind of like
yeah,
looking
like,
at it with like looking down on her because she
yeah,
was so broken instead of being like, oh, maybe she needs help, which I think nowadays we're in a better, hopefully we're in a better space as a society where we're like, oh, maybe this person, if they're never sober, they need help, instead of being like, ew,
yeah. For
because
me, watching it, I was like, that's concerning.
I was
That's
just,
super
I
concerning.
really liked her music as a child. I was just really sad when she died. I was like, oh my God.
Same.
Yeah.
Because it's like, music is one of the most powerful things, especially like it shapes you more than you would expect.
Yeah.
It's very, especially the lyrics of the music,
Yeah.
and it creates such a way to relate in some aspects, even if the topic matter doesn't necessarily is 100% what you're going through. You can find a way to relate to that emotion, and so to lose such an emotional, powerful lyricist, let alone singer,
Yeah.
soulful sound, it
Yeah.
sucks.
No one sounds like her. I think that's also why it's like,
No one, and then people try to imitate her or influenced by her sound, and it doesn't sound as great.
Can I just say the statue in Camden of her is tragic?
Yeah, it's
It's.
just it's not. Yeah, no.
I know they did it because she like loved Camden and she's like the Camden
She
girl.
died there as well.
But it's not that. I don't want to be rude, but I just don't think it's made well. Like,
It's not, is it? Probably not.
loads of my friends were like, "Who's this statue?" And then I tell them, and they're like, "Oh, of course they know her,
Yeah.
not from the statue."
They're like,
So
really? Is that actually her? Like, that's so tragic. But no, I feel like drugs is the worst thing to get into when you're famous. But I guess
these
it's because
people, yeah, they're famous. They don't know how to cope. They're not getting professional help. Everyone's pushing them to
no.
continue, like because everyone around them, like let's be honest, like her manager, her pub, like they're all making money off that one person, right?
Yeah.
So just if you have really good friends, and who knows if she, like it's complicated because you're so busy, because you're a star, you're surrounded by your team. I don't know if you're always surrounded by friends that have your best
Interest.
interest at heart instead of money wise, like financial interest. So it's like they're pushing you to do this and this and that, where maybe you should be pushed to get more help or take a break.
Mm.
So
My
like,
thing is, how what professional help can they get to help them with things like publicity and the media?
yeah,
Like, it's such a hard thing to correct or even
especially
advise.
around her time, like
Mhm.
that. Well, when she was famous, like 2000s and then early 10s, of course.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't. Were like, of course, there was mental health awareness, but not to the extent we have it now. So it's not even like.
It was still taboo to talk about.
I also feel like these people think they can't trust anyone. Like if I would be super famous, I would be scared to go to a therapist and tell them all my thoughts. And like, what if they sell it to a newspaper? Like I would be very.
Exactly. Like, as much as you can sue a therapist, that doesn't take away from the
Yeah.
emotional trauma of your shit being exposed like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. So I think it's not an easy one.
It's not an easy one. Like, to think about Michael Jackson, right? As much as people have their own private thoughts on him, and it may still be triggering for some people to talk about him, but to talk about his mental illness alone, how can someone like him receive help when even his doctor played a role in killing him, you know?
Yeah.
No, that's scary to me. To think like if I was ever in a position of that power and high status, to then rely on healthcare people to help me, and then it in turn kills me. That's scary.
Yeah, agreed.
That's so scary.
I think what we should also talk about is like how, as a society, it's kind of like glamorized that artists have these problems, and that's why their art is so good. Because there's these sayings that when an artist is happy, they can't produce good creative work, and it's like, oh,
like Kanye West, like his mum died in it, and he went down a spiral, and he's diagnosed with different mental illnesses, and they say, oh, first it's like, now, his music was good when he was like, before he was sad, then his music was great just after his mom died, and then it went downhill when he got married to Kim Kardashian and got happy. Like, what the hell?
But now you see how he's like really, really, like, I think Kanye West is really like in a hole, right? Like, I'm not a Kanye West stan. I don't know that much about the man.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone can tell right now he's in a weird place, like, because he's staying at a stadium and sleeping there. Yeah, he's like sleeping in a stadium in a room. It looks like a prison cell, and he's filming himself, and his fans can watch it until he finishes his album. And I don't know if that's normal behavior.
It's not normal behavior.
Healthy behavior, I should say.
Yeah, no, it's not healthy.
I don't know. I feel like right now he's like in a really bad spot, and I don't know, people are just like, where's your album? And I'm like, is that
really what we need to be focusing on right now?
I don't know. He's very
Like,
problematic, so I don't know, but like
he's he's problematic only in the sense of he's driven by his
isn't he bipolar? Didn't he?
experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's problematic in the sense of like I mean everyone can control their actions to an extent,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's not the worst person. Do you know?
Yeah, he hasn't killed anyone.
No, he hasn't done much. I feel like being with someone who is as fame craven as Kim Kardashian probably didn't help him in his time of need, but that's not to blame her.
Yeah. I think,
So
yeah. I
I
don't
just
know.
think his happiness came at the expense of fame.
It's just strange to see people celebrating artists being in a bad spot because their music or whatever is better.
I don't know. Like why do people want Adele to be heartbroken so much? Do you know how much being heartbroken is? It's shit. It's so fucking shit.
Like,
So
I
why
get
would
that
you want
probably
it?
when people are hurting, they throw themselves into work and then they're more focused on the work, which makes better work. Like, I understand the connection. But also, I think it's to an extent.
Mm,
You know, like, there's a limit to it.
yeah.
Like, you
Like,
are, like, you're sad. Okay, you produce a good, like, Taylor Swift, her boyfriend broke up. She produced, like, these songs that are, like, relatable to other people.
mm-hmm.
But then imagine she had, like, actual suicidal, like, depression because
Music.
I don't know, whatever. Like, at some point, there's like a limit to how good the work can be versus how bad you're actually feeling and don't want to
Yeah.
work at all anymore, and then just fall down the face of the earth. And then people are like, "Oh, look at the washed up star." That
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But it's just weird to me because you can conjure up emotions from literally any place. But like why it's not every day be sad, first of all. It's not every day be sad. And second of all, why do you need that to be solely relied on one person? You know? Like
Yeah.
Send Your Love to Your New Lover was a great song.
Yeah.
And as much as it's still about heartbreak, it's an upbeat, happy, go about your business song. So like she can produce good music. Taylor Swift, Shake It Off, I think is one of her best songs. You
A
can
bop.
fight me on that. It is a bop. And it's not her being fucking sad all the time. So obviously if you allow creative freedom for these artists, for these people, then they will receive that. And then it will make great music regardless of the topic nature. And if you want the sad stuff, there's so many sad songs in this world. Or you can just listen to the repeated ones. Have to keep relying on these people to feed your energy in a
No,
depressed
I
way.
think I have like a good example. Like, she's not that, like, loads of people know her though, but she's not like well known everywhere. Like Marina, she's like Marina the Diamonds. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think I've heard of them because of you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's like my favorite female artist, I would say, like
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite artists in general as well. But she used to be very depressed and very like anxious and, well, social anxiety, like every, like,
Yeah.
relatable stuff to the generation. And so when I was younger, all her albums was kind of like, I'm depressed and I'm sad and I don't want to live and I'm like, and
Yeah.
when you're like a sad teenage, like a depressed teenager, you're like, yeah, I relate. Like you're feeling it, and it's kind of like nice to have someone sing what you are thinking or what you're feeling. So
Mm.
you like feel, yeah, you can relate to it basically. But she definitely got better, like mentally. You can tell, she can tell, she says it. She was like, I wasn't in a good spot, so my music was about this, but now I feel better. So her music nowadays is not much about, well, because she's like, I'm sure she still struggles with some things, but you can definitely see that she got help and that she is a lot better.
Yeah.
So her music nowadays is not about those themes anymore, but right now she makes some political stuff, like basically like fuck sexism and fuck whatever, and like
Yeah,
political issues, make songs
that's
about
cool.
that. Yeah, it's really cool. And I think I kind of grew up with her and I got better. So it's like I enjoy the music, but I can see that some of the fans are like, I don't know, I feel like some of the fans would be like, oh, she doesn't make the music like she used to. But then I'm like, but she doesn't because she got better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, do you know what pisses me off as well? It's when they're like, "Oh, you're a sellout," like the things you're talking about, or you're making this music because you are trying to appeal to the masses, and it's like, no, I'm just changing as a person. I'm evolving, so my sound is evolving too.
Yeah.
But people are like, "No, you're a sellout. Like it's not the same anymore. The music's not the same." It's like, what does that even mean? Music hasn't been the same for how many like centuries? Or,
Yeah.
like it's not dependent on one artist to remain a sound for you. They evolved with who they are as a person and where the world is going and how they're feeling. That's how art is. It's an evolution. It's not
Yeah.
consistent. So I don't. Yeah, people just annoy me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange. Do you think the people that say that are people that are still sad and have some
Sorry.
problem? No, but like that have
The way
some
you said
problem.
it.
No.
Are they sad?
That still have problems and they still want someone to like, they're like, oh, now I can't relate to them anymore because they don't feel like me anymore. So they're like, there's this disconnect. Or do you think it's people that are healthy and then they just like that kind of music?
Well, I get told I listen to sad music all the time. So, I don't know personally because I feel like I'm one of those. I'm not healthy because I suffer from my own mental problems. But like, I don't. Okay, so when I'm sad, I don't listen to sad music
Mm-hmm.
because I don't necessarily want to feel sad.
I will just cry if I'm sad.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Like,
would just
I'm not gonna play a soundtrack of fucking sad music when I'm sad. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
or I'm not gonna go for Melanie Martinez when I'm just like fuck the world. You know,
Yeah.
it's just it's not a natural thing for me to do. So maybe people who are down and want to feel like that, that's cool. I guess it helps express your emotions better than you can
Yeah.
do it. Or as you said, it's relatable. But
Do
I'm
you?
not sure.
Yeah. And what I'm just thinking about is like, do you know the Billie Eilish interview that Vogue does every year with her?
Yeah.
So it's always her responding to what she responded the years before.
Yeah, I think that's cool when they do that.
Hmm?
I think it's cool when they do that.
Yeah, so with her, when she first did the interview, she was a lot, I don't know, sadder, mad at the world, not
Yeah.
happy. And I think now she's more like,
She's getting happier.
I don't know, it just seems like she's getting better.
Mm,
And but at the same time, I see that more people are disliking her music.
okay. I
I don't know, it just keeps happening. It's like a pattern in society. It's very strange.
um, I feel like because when you're happier, it's more upbeat in it, and her music is very sultry and
Yeah, so
slow.
maybe when people got into it, they were like happy about the sound of music, and now it's more,
Yeah. I don't
yeah,
think necessarily it's the topic nature. I think it's literally just like how it's what's the word I'm looking for? How it's created, like
yeah,
the instrumental and like the lyricism,
yeah,
everything
maybe,
complete. Maybe that's just what they're familiar to and what they're drawn to is that type of sound. And then when you switch the sound, it's like, what the hell is
yeah,
this? So it's not necessarily about wanting to be sad. I guess it's just
yeah.
like I like the sound of this. I like the sound of the slow vibes. But I don't know. Everyone just has an issue with Billie Eilish in any way. I keep calling her eyelash. That's really bad. So Billie Eilish.
Oh my God.
It's just sorry. Do you know what? I said it with my cousin in like H&M, and now I can't stop saying it. I said it as a joke, and now I can't stop saying it.
I want to talk about one more that just popped into my head
Uh-huh.
because we were talking a lot about singers and songwriters.
Yeah, we can go for like actors.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about Heath Ledger because obviously he has these like, of course he's the Joker, like his iconic role is probably the Joker. And then
Yeah.
he's in Brokeback Mountain, which was like a breakthrough movie for like LGBT.
Yeah. Do you know I didn't know that was him for the longest time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's good representation, but it is representation
It is representation.
with two like actors that were really famous at the time. Like, so it's like it
Yeah.
wasn't an indie film. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
it was two actors that already
Very.
were somewhat known. So,
Yeah. I can't believe he's so good looking.
yeah.
Sorry, that was off topic. I just realized, like, you know how good looking Heath Ledger is. Because you
And
only see
then
him
he
as the
was
Joker.
also in 10 Things I Hate About You, which is one of my favorite movies from the 90s. So good.
Ooh.
So him, it's like, I think, strange how do you think people knew how bad he was doing? Like,
Do you know what? I think people can, retrospectively, can look and see that he was not doing very well.
Yeah, but in
But
the moment.
yeah, in the moment, it's like, I don't really give a shit. A lot
But
of people do
also,
that
yeah.
though.
Because you know how the Joker is also like a mentally ill person. Like, that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. But it's crazy to think he played this character as his last character. Like, I don't know.
Like doesn't seem like such a facade anymore, that the acting is not really acting.
Yeah, obviously the Joker is like, I'd say like a hyperbolic version of like
Mm.
a person that's crazy because they're mentally ill. But it's like, did he feel some aspects like that were the same as with his brain because he was like depressed? I don't know. It's just very interesting to think about, I think.
Did that role drive him to become more insane?
I don't know.
Because you have to inhabit some of the characteristics that
Didn't
you're
he
playing.
stay in character? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I swear down. And
Mm.
like Jared Leto tried to do the same, but
Yeah, but Jared Leto is just a weird cult leader.
fucking weirdo,
So
innit?
no respect for
Just
him.
a weirdo.
Yeah, who else? Oh my God, I just had someone in my head, but I don't
Off
remember.
topic, somebody told me that he's the best Joker, and I said, "You're mad."
What? Jared Leto?
Yeah.
He's the no.
I
No.
mean, for like his flamboyance, as much as the Joker is flamboyant, I guess so. But other than that, no. Like,
I just have to strongly disagree on that one.
I thoroughly disagree, and I felt so offended as a fan of everything Batman that
Yeah.
you're gonna sit here and tell me that Jared Leto was bad. Anyway,
No, I was thinking, yeah, of oh my God, Joaquin Phoenix. He played the new Joker. Joaquin.
Joaquin, yeah.
He's the same. No, he has like anxiety and like social anxiety and like.
I don't know, because I've seen some interviews of him, and I don't know if that's just his personality or he actually has like anxiety.
I thought I read that, but he played
I
the
don't
new
know.
Joker, and he's like.
He's very impressive.
I always feel like mentally healthy people
Just
play
play.
the Joker. I don't think so.
No, but like, when do mentally healthy people play any roles that aren't um happy or just like good, or like it has to be some people who can manifest that from somewhere. I don't think like acting for me isn't a place of completely removing yourself from the character, because I haven't met an actor who has completely accomplished that for me.
Yeah.
Like Will Smith, my friend's gonna hate me because I know he listens to the podcast. He's not a good actor. He's not a good actor. I don't care what anyone says. He's not a good actor. He's all right.
No, but the movie with oh my God, what's it called? Where Jaden Smith plays oh my God, where he's a father and the son.
Pursuit of Happiness.
That one's a good film.
He plays himself, Julie. He plays himself in everything. If you look at every single fucking movie that Will Smith does, he plays himself.
It's like The Rock. The Rock always plays himself.
The Rock plays himself. It's just a different alternative version of himself, but still Will Smith in every aspect.
So you're saying people that are like happy within themselves can't relate to other sad roles, so they don't play?
They don't do it. No, Ryan Reynolds plays himself. I watched Free Guy, guys, and it was fucking awful. But it was Ryan Reynolds just as a watered down version of himself, but still still Ryan Reynolds. Who else plays themselves in every aspect?
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel plays himself. Who's a good popular actor? I think only what's his name? The one that sleeps with like the same looking women, just like he gets rid of them every once they hit 30.
Oh, Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt? Is that
No,
Brad Pitt?
Tom Cruise.
Is it Tom Cruise we were talking about?
One of them.
Or is it Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, yeah, it might be him. They're all the same. Oh my god.
They're all the
It's
same.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, it's him.
Other than him and why am I forgetting all the names today? The one who plays Woody and he's in fucking
Excuse me?
he's
We're off the rails.
He's in Forrest Gump.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, thank you. I'm literally.
Oh, he does play
forgetting all the
Woody. He
actors'
voices
names.
Woody.
Yeah, he
He
voices Woody.
voices Woody, not Hoodie. Oh my god.
Oh, did you say you think I said Hoodie?
I said Hoodie just now.
Oh, girl, no. he voices Woody. Him, Tom Hanks.
He's a good actor.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I feel like they're great. Like they're
great actors. But they seem, I don't want to assume, but they seem like generally well people. But I don't want to assume because maybe they have some deep lying issues that I don't know.
I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio might. They're like.
Yeah, because he's been in the business for a long time, and people that have been in Hollywood a long time, they're all kind of fucked up after him.
But like, maybe not. Maybe he's doing great. But his rotation of women like is concerning.
Tom Cruise that are like in Scientology, which can't be good either.
Yeah, no.
We got off topic now. Oh my god.
We are, but yeah, I forgot all the names today. Like I don't know people.
But maybe some people like are good now. Like some actors are fine now mentally, but they went through some hardships in their like childhood or like young adulthood, and that's why they can still act in these roles.
I don't know. Because who do you think changes that formula? Because I'm even thinking about women, right? Because you just mentioned male actors. I'm thinking about actresses, and I'm trying to think who even. Because like Viola Davis, right? That video you sent me.
Yeah.
But her roles also remain true to her personality. I'm trying to think of someone who.
The problem with like Viola Davis and other black female artists, they often get cast in struggling black
roles anyway, yeah.
So they're like, okay, but I'm struggling as well because
in
you're
life
giving me the same roles. It's like
you're fitting me into one box. Kerry Washington doesn't though. She kind of explores different avenues, which is great.
Halle Berry always plays like fun
but
parts.
She plays who she looks like, sexy. Like no, like she's just a very
true. She's a bit
fetishized.
Yeah, thank you. Oh my god.
She just plays sexy, and that's all she like. That's not all she is, but that's the trope that she follows.
Yeah, people see her and they think Catwoman. It's true.
Yeah, and that's like every role she has. Most roles is like her just being sexy.
True.
I'm trying to think. Gabrielle Union. She's one that I can say is quite versatile.
Yeah.
In not just like staying as a black woman in the struggle.
Yeah.
But
yeah, give me like a rom-com with a black woman where the topic is not that she's a black woman. Like why?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Why couldn't? Yeah. Well, yeah. Now saying that, like, because Viola Davis always gets compared to Meryl Streep, or like say that she's the black Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep has her own accomplishments for her, and Viola Davis has her accomplishments. Why are we
comparing the two? Women? Does Meryl Streep have any mental illnesses? Because I would say she's one of the most iconic actresses as well. Do you think
I don't know. She's also been acting for a long time.
A long time.
I still think that if you're in Hollywood for that long, it's really hard. Like, I don't know how some of these people stay mentally well. I think it's really hard. I think you have to have a really good support system.
Right?
Like with the paparazzi, with the media, with the drugs everywhere, because like let's not pretend that not everyone's doing drugs there. And like I don't know, like I think maybe if you have a really, really good support system.
Maybe, or maybe she just like minded her business. Because I feel like that's the problem with people once they get a bit popular, they really indulge in that popularity.
Yeah, they go to all the parties, they go to like all the they want to be part of
Yeah, they want to be part of the crew, the society, the culture there, and that's scary because that also comes with limitations of so many things, or restricting your life to be a part of something that's bigger
Yeah,
than
you said that
yourself.
before, but I also think the drugs are do bad for a lot of people.
Mm, I don't know. If I was famous, I'd actually just mind my business.
I think Meryl Streep is probably just unproblematic, like Anne Hathaway. They just, are just
Anne
chilling.
Hathaway also plays herself. Sorry, she also plays herself. So does Emma Stone.
Yeah, she's like always the quirky.
In everything, even in Cruella.
Yeah, that's a little, I get a little bit different than the other ones. A little bit.
Do you think so?
Because
Really?
usually she's like the romantic, no, the quirky love interest or main character who is in a romance. Like, well, Easy A was the same. Like,
I
she's
love
like,
Easy A. Easy A is
she's
one of my favorite
quirky but
films.
confident, and she's the person people are interested in, basically. Like,
but
but in
Cruella still has being
Cruella,
quirky.
I think, yeah, but usually she's shown in this like innocent kind of light, or like in Cruella it was kind of like she's a bit fucked up. Do you know what I mean?
In Easy A, she was definitely fucked up. Like, why would she do that? Like she was so bored with her life, so she decided to pretend that she's out here hoeing. Who does that?
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Easy A is such a good movie.
It's such a good movie. Sorry, but yeah, no, she just.
Yeah. I don't know. Cruella I was still confused why they didn't cast a British actress, but that's beyond me.
So was I, because
Like I
I'm
love Emma
tired.
Stone. Like don't get me wrong, I love her. Like I actually do like her a lot. But it's like, why are we making an American do a British accent when we
I don't
know
know, all the
British?
time. But also, Tom Holland does a great job at doing American accents, so I can't really hate on that. So, because like it's hypocritical of me to be like they need to stop doing English accents when we do a great fucking American accent.
Yeah, I get that, but also I don't know. I just wanted to see Cruella as a British actress. Can't
Yeah,
lie.
because we have so many great actresses that could have done that role justice.
I don't know, because everything takes place in London and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I get you. Anyway, we're going off track. To conclude, we just support getting help, and if I know that's hard for people in such a high position, but this whole idea of being suicidal or having influences from mental health to drive you to death is awful, and we just want great people to be great people in life and in death.
Yeah.
Was that a great way to conclude?
I think that was a good conclusion. I think just we need to stop romanticizing that bad mental health creates good. Well, we just need to realize that, okay, creates good art, maybe because in that moment, that's all they're focusing on. But also, we need to be careful not to cause more great artists death because of that.
Yeah, true. I support that statement.
On that note, everyone,
have a lovely day.
we love you. Take care of yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.